Hey, how's it going? Mike Marin here, and welcome to the Strike It Rich Cold Email Prospecting Masterclass. So, first off, I want to say thank you so much for putting your trust in me as your trainer, and I also want to congratulate you for stepping up, taking action, and investing in yourself. So, this program right here has the ability to change your life if you will take these strategies and implement them into your business. So, with that said, before I get into this, I just want to welcome you to the training and also really quickly introduce myself and then share with you how you can get the most out of this training. So really quick, who am I? That right there is me, Mike Marin. I'm a marketing strategist and entrepreneur. For the past 10 years, I've been helping clients use online marketing to attract more clients into their business. My clients, I have included some of the biggest experts and coaches in the world, and I've helped them build their business to 7 figures. One of my companies actually that I was consulting, they were on the Inc. 5000 list twice. My own training company, which I've been running for the past 5 years, has served more than 12,000 happy customers and clients from all over the world, training them on things such as email copywriting, writing video sales letters, landing high-ticket clients in the coaching niche, and much, much more. What I'm going to share with you inside this training is what I use in my agency. So I actually spend more time doing than I do teaching. Teaching is kind of 20% of my time. 80% of what I do is actually in the trenches. So what I'm going to share with you in this training is what I use to start a brand new Facebook ads agency in a new niche, and how I went from $0 to $50,000 a month in recurring revenue without spending a dime on advertising or traffic. I only use cold email, and that's what I'm going to share with you. I'm going to share with you that skill set. So, and now that we're on the topic, really there's only 2 necessary skills that you need to get to your first $30,000 a month online. And if you have these skills, which are number 1, outbound prospecting. That is going to an ice cold prospect, sending them out a message and landing an appointment. And the second skill is sales, inside sales, getting on the phone with that person and making a presentation, showing them what you could do for them, whether it's a demo, whether it's a screen share, whether it's just a phone, and then getting them to pull the trigger. And that's really it. If you have those 2 skills, generating appointments and making a sale, that is all you need to get to your first $30,000 a month, and do it within the first few months. A lot of people, they've been online for many years, and I just see them doing things wrong. Business is lead, sales, and service. And again, this might be a little old school, but that's what I'm going to share with you in this training is that outbound prospecting, which I think cold email is the best for that. So how do you send, and it doesn't cost any money. You don't need to spend any money on ads or anything like that. It's literally sending outbound prospecting messages, landing appointments, making a presentation, and making a sale. That is how you're going to grow your business. If you have these 2 skills and you apply them, it's pretty hard not to get to $10,000 a month online. So really quickly, how do you get the most out of this training? So I have a couple rules every time I train. Number 1 is this: we only accumulate knowledge if it gives us something to do, right? And you will see immediate results if you take immediate action. If you watch this training and don't do anything with it, you're not going to see immediate results. However, you watch this and you apply this as quick as you can. The faster you apply it, the quicker you're going to see results. Number 3 is know the definitions. At the end of the day, I've studied a lot into learning, why people learn, why people don't learn. One of the biggest reasons why people don't learn in the subject of study is the fact that they don't know the definition. So if there's ever a word that I use and I don't know, make it a habit, even in this training and other trainings, to pause it, look up that word. That way you make sure you're understanding my communication. Know the definitions. Do a Google search, define whatever the word is, look up the word, look up the origin, start to get more familiar with that. And again, if there's going to be a lot of new words in this, know the definitions, define them. The only reason why people can't learn is, one of the major reasons is misunderstood words. So make sure you understand the words. Number 4 is investing does not get results. You could get the information, but the results does not come until the work is done. And that's going to mean getting outside your comfort zone. As crazy as it sounds, the first couple times I sent cold emails, there is that little bit of resistance that comes. You got to fight and get over that resistance that you're sending out communications and you're taking action. So the results don't come until the work comes. And finally, take imperfect action and speed of implementation. There was a study done. The most successful people are those that implement fast. So the quicker you can implement this, the better off you're going to be. So right now, I want to ask you this. You have two choices whenever you take any training, this training specifically. Number one is, do you want to turn this into another hodgepodge of data in your head that you basically forget in a week or remember to use? Or number two, do you want to turn this into a life-changing experience that gives you massive success and creates the lifestyle you desire? So make that decision right now, what you're going to do with that training. Because unlike trainings there's many trainings you've probably taken in the past where you've just learned a bunch of data and basically forgot it in a week and you never used it. I want this to be different. I want you to learn this and apply it as quick as you can. So with that said, let's get into it. So what is cold email? Very simple. I just want to define that. It's sending an email to somebody who doesn't know you. It's as simple as that. It's outreaching, and we're going to go through the whole process here from how to take someone from cold to sold. But that's basically the crux of it. So some cold email myths. I just want to get these elephants out of the room. Myth number one is it's spam. Many people believe it's a low-level way to get clients. However, what you're going to realize, it's the exact opposite of that. And spam is in the eyes of the beholder. Some of the most successful CEOs and founders use cold email. It's actually how Elon Musk, who's now the richest man in the world, they primarily use cold email in the very beginning to start to build PayPal. Myth number two is it makes you look desperate. Like I just said, cold email when done right does not make you look desperate. Many of my best clients came through cold email. And like I said, founders and CEOs at billion-dollar companies use cold email to build their business. If you look at Salesforce.com, the way they got to $1 billion in monthly recurring, or it was $100 million in monthly recurring revenue. There's a great book on it called Predictable Revenue by Aaron Ross. Their main strategy was cold email. And again, some of the biggest companies, this is their strategy that they're using. Myth number three is that people will hate you. And this happens sometimes. Total myth again. If you can solve your prospects' problems, they will not hate you. If you fill a need that they have, they will love you and not hate you. Many of my clients that come through cold email are now friends of mine, and believe me, they don't hate me. They will love you if you send them out a message done correctly that addresses their problems, and then you actually deliver a service that solves their problems, and they get a good exchange from that. So the next myth is, and I actually thought this myself years ago, is cold emailing is illegal. So the CAM spam, that's the major law. Again, you got to look all this up. I'm not a lawyer, but this law does not make cold emailing illegal. CAN spam was created to protect consumers from companies who are not honoring opt-out requests. So as long as you honor and respect all opt-out requests, you are within the law. And if you look at the GDRP, this law is very similar to CAM spam, but it was passed in Europe. And it makes it so the consumer has the right to be forgotten, which basically means that if someone asks to unsubscribe, you must delete them. So right here, if you look at it, I would highly recommend going to the FTC website and reading it. But those are basically, if you look right there, those are the 7 things to follow. Don't use false or misleading header information. Don't use deceptive ad subject lines. Identify the message as an ad and tell your recipients where you're located. That's why we want to have in our signature our actual address, our name, the name of the business, and the phone number as well. Number 5 is you have to have a way to tell them how to opt out, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. And then you want to honor opt-out requests promptly. And 7, monitor what others are doing on your behalf. So again, look that up. Really important if you're going to be using this as a strategy to make sure that you do it within the law. Whatever country you're in, again, that's your responsibility to figure out the laws of your country, because every country is going to have different laws. So why cold email? Number one, it works. All right. Like I was telling you before, Salesforce.com was built to 100 million in recurring revenue using cold email. Again, that book is Predictable Revenue by Aaron Ross. Great book, covers some good stuff. Highly recommend you pick that up. And again, Elon Musk used cold emails to build PayPal. If you kind of look at a lot of these companies in Silicon Valley, which that Aaron Ross book is considered the sales kind of Bible there, a lot of them are using cold email because it's so damn effective. Also, cold emailing is like free gambling. So unlike running Facebook ad funnels or where you're spending $200 per appointment, or you're gambling your time trying to blog or do SEO or something like that, cold email is like free gambling. It's instant and it's free. So it's not like direct mail. It's not like a radio ad. This is literally, it's your time of writing it, and then the know-how, which is what I'm going to show you how to do in this program. The next thing is precision targeting. There is no other marketing channel, I guess, unless you're doing cold calling or direct mail, but they're in line, where you can get to the exact person that you want to get to, spearing who you want to get to, whether it's a CEO, whether it's whoever, right? And whatever service, this stuff works for SEO agencies, Facebook ad agency, really any B2B service, web design companies, you name the service. And not only that, you can use it for other things. I've used it to get hotel upgrades. I've used it, you could use it to apply for jobs, find decision makers. So really, this is a skill set that you're going to be able to use throughout the rest of your business career, because these are the fundamentals. Like I said, to get, without really, if you're making less than $20,000 a month, you shouldn't be spending money on ads. You should really be doing a strategy like this. Get that money, save 30% of it, then start to reinvest in the other forms of, Facebook ads, YouTube ads, SEO, all that kind of stuff. But when you're starting out, this precision targeting, and it's free gambling. If you mess up on a Facebook ad or a campaign that involves money, not only are you down your time, but you're also down the money. And that stuff today is pretty damn expensive. However, this right here, this is free. You could just hustle, send out messages like I'm going to show you. So to give you a quick overview, here are the 7 steps of how do you take someone from cold to sold. So step number 1 is you got to select your hunting niche. So I'm going to cover that. That's how to find the ideal prospects, and part of how you be different is niching down and finding a hunting niche. Number 2 is then, once we have our niche, once we have that target, how do we gather data? How do we get their name, their email, their phone numbers? How do we instantly get thousands of business owners' name, email, phone number instantly? And then also, not only that, how do we then enrich that data? I'm going to show you data enrichment, which is really going to give you different lists than your other people that are doing kind of the lazy way of cold emailing. Step 3 then is we're going to go and clean and verify that cold email. So I'm going to show you some services that will make it so that your emails don't bounce. Again, if you scrape a list and they're getting caught in spam traps or they're bouncing, you're going to get your email account shut down pretty quick. So I'm going to show you how do you clean, how do you remove the duplicates and all that. The next step 4 then, is cold email copywriting. So I'm going to show you kind of a high level, how do you write high converting cold emails? How do you take principles that are proven direct response, proven persuasion principles, and add those to your cold emails so that they work, and they work every time? Number 5 is your email delivery system. I'm going to show you 2 different systems. One totally white hat. The other, I guess you could call it kind of gray hat, black hat in a way. But I'm going to show you how do you get thousands of emails delivered to decision makers. How do you get it in their inbox? How do you show up differently? And how do you scale this thing up? Because at the end of the day, it's all about finding the list. Then you got a message. You got to get your email delivered. You got to not have it wind up in those spam folders. Then I'm going to show you how to follow up and set appointments. How do you handle email responses and all of that stuff? So, once someone's replied, hey, I want to have a conversation with you, or hey, it's, what's your price? Rebuttals for that, all of that stuff. So how do you handle the responses, and how do you book them onto your calendar so that you have a set calendar, 2 to 3 appointments a day minimum. Then I'm going to show you finally step 7, which is phone scripts and closing like a boss. I'm going to show you the process I used in my agency that took me from $0 to $50,000 a month in a couple months. And I'm also going to show you how you can kind of modify that for different things. I was selling done for you Facebook ads, but I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm going to show you basic phone scripts and closing. That way you have an entire process from 0 to landing a client. How do you take someone from cold to sold? And then eventually, obviously, you close the deal and it's money in the bank. So with that said, that's kind of the overview. We're going to cover these. These are all modules in and of themselves. So module 1, we got, the hunting niche, and then module 2 and so on of these different topics. So we're going to cover all these 7 topics. But before I do that, what I want to do is I want to give you kind of a high level overview of this system, of the Strike It Rich cold email prospecting system. And I want to walk you through a case study of how I landed 10 clients in 23 days without spending a dime on advertising or cold calling in a brand new niche without any quote unquote proof, and how you can too. So that way you can kind of see the system from start to finish. And then what we'll do is we'll drill down into the specifics. And so with that said, I'm Mike Marin. Again, thanks so much for investing in this program. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Hey, how's it going? Mike Marin here, and welcome to this video. Like I said in the last video, what I wanted to do is give you an overview of this entire cold email blueprint with some examples of how this all works. So this right here is a case study of how I landed 10 clients in 23 days without spending a dime on advertising, doing cold calling of any kind in a brand new niche without any proof, and how you can too. So basically, a little backstory. I had a business in the coaches space where I was helping coaches with their advertising, and I really wanted to get into the local space, and I wanted to do it as an agency. So I had invested in training, and I'm going to walk you through kind of my thought process of what I did. So I think of leads. I knew every business is lead sales and service. So I had the service I was going to deliver. I was going to deliver leads for businesses using Facebook ads. And I knew I needed sales, and I knew starting that business that in order to get leads, I needed to get the leads, right? So every business I look at in terms of seeds, nuts, and spears. So I'm going to actually pop this in so you can see this. Oh. It's not showing. There we go. Seeds, nuts, and spears. So essentially, seeds are the best. Seeds are what you lay out. That's your SEO. That's your referrals. But I knew starting this business, SEO takes some time. Obviously, I need some clients first to get some referrals. So that the seeds were kind of out of the mix, even though I put that in my plan of the long term, what I wanted to set up with my business, because those are the best leads. Second was that left me with either going for a nets way to get leads or spears. So the way I look at it, nets are, your big giant net. You're not going to be exactly specific with who you're going to get, but they work great and they're very scalable. Those are your radio, those are your TV, your YouTube ads, your Facebook ads, your kind of your interruption ads to where you're putting out a piece of bait and you're generating a lead. Those usually cost a lot of money, and those are what most people do when they start a business. The last is spears, which is my favorite. Those are your targeted outbound sales efforts. Those are you identify a hunting niche and you do a cold call or a cold email. So I decided that for starting this business, this Facebook ads agency, I was going to start with a cold email outbound campaign. And that's exactly what I did. So I chose, hey, I'm going to do spears. And then just to kind of take you through my thought process, any campaign I do, I'm always thinking about the very basics. And the basics is what I learned from Dan Kennedy, which is the results marketing triangle. I know I need the right message to the right market via the right media. So I'd already decided the media is cold emailing, which means I needed to get at the right market and I needed to deliver the right message. So how do I break through? So what I actually decided on was kind of at random. I'll show you in the niche video kind of how I select my niches, but I wanted something high ticket. I wanted something, and in the course that I invested in, it actually had a funnel for loan officers. So I kind of spent a half a day, got up to speed, learned the lingo of loan officers, and just was figured out, okay, what are the products they serve, and et cetera. And I actually niched down even more to FHA loans, which you'll see. But I chose the market. So I had the market, I had the media, now I just needed to come up with a message. So that's essentially what I did there. And this are, again, the 7 steps that I went through, which I told you about in the last video. So the 7 steps is step number 1 is select the hunting niche. So I selected, and again, I'm going to share with you how I go through my niche selection, but I shared loan officer niche. Step 2 was then gather the data, gather and enrich the data. What I used at the time was a program called D7 Lead Finder, which was free. Again, think about the strategy here. I'm going to show you in step 2 so many more advanced ways, so many better ways that I've discovered since this campaign. But just so you kind of see, I used D7 Lead Finder, and then I gathered a list of about 6,000 loan officers, and I did that by the top 100 cities. I then took that and I cleaned that list because, again, like I said, you don't want to send out a bunch of emails and have them all bounce, have them not be verified. So I took that list and I cleaned it through this program called email-verify.myadder. Again, still works great today, but this stuff is always changing. So another one you could use is Never Bounce, but again, I'm going to have a whole separate video on that. Step 4, then I wrote the cold email. So I decided on a 2-step process that was number 1 to elicit a response. Number 2 was to send a reply email. Kind of a sneaky way to do it. It's not what I do all the time. That's what I went with on this specific campaign that I'm going to show you in this case study. And then basically what you do is you ask them a question like, do you offer Invisalign? And obviously you send that to a list of all Invisalign providers. You know they're going to get sent yes. It's a great way to warm up an email account, get a response. And when I kind of came up with this, again, this has been copied by a lot of other marketers since, but when I was doing this, it was pretty unique. And again, what I'm showing you here, what you're going to do is going to have to be different because things change. Just like you wouldn't start Blockbuster Video today, you probably wouldn't send this exact cold email campaign. But again, I want to show you the strategy and kind of how I came up with it so you could visualize and see this. So I wrote the cold email. It was basically like, do you offer Invisalign? They replied. It's like, hey, my name's Mike. I own this company and I have this result that you want. Are you interested in talking? So you'll see the flow of that email. Step 5 is I sent and again, in the video, I'm going to show you how you go out and write these emails, all temp files and swipe files that you could use to come up with your own unique emails. Step 5 is I sent the email. At the time, I used Woodpecker, which I still do use every now and then. But again, this stuff is always changing. I've since discovered way better methods on how to actually send out emails. And then I used G Suite. So that was what I used at the time. And again, that stuff still does work. Let me just go down here. But I do have some other methods I want to share with you because email deliverability is a pain. It's always going to be a pain, but I want to give you kind of the high level strategy of how you could crack this for your own specific case. So again, here's the process. I sent out that cold email 1. The prospect replied. If they replied, they got sent cold email 2, which now had the pitch in it. If they then replied to that, I marked them as a lead in my spreadsheet, and then I would work the lead with follow-up and responses, which I'm going to show you in one of the future videos. They then send them a link to a book on my calendar. Once they are booked on my calendar, what I would then do is send pre-framing emails. Again, I had no proof in this industry. I had no clients, so I basically thought through all of my different versions of proof and sent them out a few emails, which basically were educational emails, educating them on what Facebook ads were and how I would go about doing this for them, and then kind of what the process would look like in a mock-up form. Again, that's another form of proof. So I sent out those emails, pre-framed them before the phone call, had a sales call, and turned them into a new client. So here's the exact stats of that campaign that I ran. If you look right here, after cleaning the list, after scraping it from D7, we had 5,786. And by the way, D7 now costs, I forget what it costs, but what you want to do is you want to use localleadlist.com, and I'll be sharing with you why you want to do that. But so we had 5,786 prospects. Out of those, and that was after they were clean. After those, I sent 5,023, of which 5,703 were delivered with a 41% open rate. And I'm going to share with you how I get those open rates. Again, pretty crazy open rate there, 41.8%. And then from there, I had a reply rate of 24.6% with a cold email. So this is what it looked like. Out went email number 1. At this case, I niched down to FHA home loans. So I said, question, hi, do you offer FHA home loans? Thanks, Mike. From there, I got 41% to open that and 24% to respond. And what I then followed up was email 2. Hey, Ron, thanks for the quick response. The reason I asked is because I own a company called Influence Digitally. Right now, we have a proven campaign that is generating live exclusive leads for FHA home loans, and I'd like to send a few of them to you. Right? So that's kind of my respond to them. Right now, we have a proven campaign, and then boom. And it was a proven campaign at that point because I got it from a course where I knew a bunch of other people were running that, and it was proven it was working for their clients. They shared it in the program, so I had access to that. And then I said, listen, if you've bought leads in the past, here's why it hasn't been good for you. They are most likely shared leads, sold to big banks with call centers. How can you compete with that? Or even fake leads or leads generated with deceptive marketing with incentives to win a trip to Vegas. So this goes down to learning copywriting, which I'm going to share with you some techniques on how you get up to speed really quick on that. But essentially what I did was I went on Google and I learned about the industry real quick. Went on the forums and found out what is it that they didn't like. Why were they not happy with the leads? And I actually found a few of these comments where someone was like, I'm getting fake leads. I bought leads and they were, the incentive was win a trip to Vegas. So that's why I threw that in there. Again, I'm just trying to get that message to market match. Then the next line was, we are different because we use multi-channel marketing to generate leads exclusively for you. No one else gets to use these leads as we brand them, as we use your brand to generate them. This is because I knew that on Zillow and the other sites like Trilio, they're not branded leads and they're also not exclusive. So I'm thinking from a copywriting standpoint, what are they getting hit with? How am I being different? I also chose the words multi-channel marketing because I knew at that point and that timing in that marketplace, again, timing is really key. It's part of the OATS marketing formula. You need the right offer to the right audience at the right time. I knew the timing of this was these loan officers had been getting hit up with marketers about Facebook ads over and over and over again. So I wasn't going to go out and say this is Facebook ads. I was going to say it's multi-channel. And my thing being I was going to do Instagram and Facebook ads. So again, it really is multi-channel marketing. What they don't know is you simply Facebook ads and Instagrams are running the same platform. So I just wanted to be different because I knew that other people cold emailing out to this market at the time were saying, hey, I'll run a free trial for you. I'll do your Facebook ads and all that. So again, I'm thinking, how am I going to be different based off the timing of what's going on in the market at that time? So you need to think, what's going on in your market that you want to mail to right now? What are they getting hit with? And how am I going to show up differently? How am I going to position myself uniquely? And that's really the secret of this response rate as you see in this case study. So to continue, I said we are different because we use multi-channel marketing to generate leads exclusively for you. No one else gets to use these leads as we use your brand to generate them. They're going to be pre-sold on you as provider as they see your brand during the process. My current LOs are apping between 9 to 50% of these within 30 to 45 days. And again, I use that because in the course that I had, those were the results that they were getting. So that's why I use that. We guaranteed the results. And again, this is part of how I was going to deliver and be different because I wanted to go in with a guarantee because I knew that a lot of other people, everyone now guarantees results in this space, by the way. So it doesn't really work as well. But at the time, again, timing's super important they weren't getting hit with that. So I said, if we don't hit our targets, you don't pay. Simple as that. Do you have time for a call this week? And again, you could see that's where on that second email, we got loads of responses. And there's a guy, Ron, Mike, can I speak with you tomorrow? And then this other person, Jody, I work with Michelle. You can reach out, schedule at 4. So I started getting these replies. Is Ron, does 3 p.m. work to you tomorrow? If it doesn't work, here's a link to my calendar. And again, I link to the calendar they book on. And then they got on my calendar and I closed them for a trial. I was really going for a $1,500 deal, but because I didn't know the niche and I didn't even know the lingo, the first bunch of calls I was doing, I was literally just trying to get things moving. I closed an $800 trial because he said no to the $1,500. And again, that's all part of the sales process. So, that was a closed deal with him. He said, can you do 800? Here's another one right here. This was $1,500 sale. And I'll show you the total results from the campaign. So my campaign objective was to land a client for $1,500 USD per month. And the offer was 50 leads for $30. At the time, those I knew from the program, and I actually wound up generating leads for about 10. So my profit margins were pretty good, about 66% on each client, and those were monthly. So out of the 5,032 cold emails sent, 2,386 opened email 1, 1,404 replied to email 1. Out of those, 126 replied to cold email 2. This is the first time around. Again, I actually kept me emailing this over and over again for the next year, but I just want to show you how quickly you get results with this. Out of that, if you do things right? If you have the timing right, if you have the copywriting right, if you have the delivery system right, this is what's possible. So I spoke with 38 loan officers. Out of those, I signed up 10. The average profit per client was about $1,000 per month. Because out of that, it took me about $500 to generate those 50 leads. And as you can see, one of the problems was actually the stick rate with this. But from that first month alone, my stick rate was about between 3 to 4 months. So you could see that was about $35,000 from just one campaign, 1 month worth of effort that wound up paying me $35,000. So that's what's possible. And again, once I learned this cold email stuff, this totally changed my ability to go out and get money. It's one of the best skills you can learn. As long as you have the prospecting side and you get the sales part, it's a kind of skill where if you should never want for money again, because anytime you need to get money, what you do is if you have this skill of cold emailing, you know how to get a list, you can easily load up, send out, get on the phone, make some sales, and you'll have the money. So that's the overview of the system. As you can see, I followed the entire system, which we covered. We picked a hunting niche, we gathered the data, we cleaned the data, we wrote the email, we sent out the email with the system, we followed up to the replies, we got them onto our calendar, and we closed them. And that is how it works. So in the next couple of videos, I'm going to be taking you into the system more in detail. I'm going to show you how to do all of these step by step over my shoulder, and then also give you the strategy behind it, because I don't want to make this course tactical. I want to make it strategical so that you can go and you can get results today. So enjoyed making this video for you. I'll see you in the next one.